There are prisons that cage the body, and there are prisons that cage the soul. Hidden beneath centuries of stone and silence lies a fortress where sound itself was buried alive. No songs, no screams, not even the mercy of footsteps. Only a single voice, swallowed, then echoed through time. The year was 1643. The kingdom was bleeding in silence. While the nobles drank beneath silver chandeliers, the world beneath their boots rotted, and in the depths of Hohenzollern Castle, they locked away a man whose name was meant to be forgotten. They called him the Nameless Voice, a man who once dined beside power, but dared to speak a sentence no throne could forgive. A sentence about a child, a bloodline, and a throne built on lies. The royal council moved swiftly, cleaner than a blade. His lands were seized, his lineage erased, and his tongue silenced. Not by death, but by something far colder. A cell designed to drown the very concept of sound. The silent cage. A cell so deep, so still, the prisoners forgot the sound of their own breath. No chains, no bars, just endless, crushing quiet. But silence has a way of speaking to those it devours, and as the world above danced in gold, below, he began to listen. To the walls, to the breath of centuries, to the secrets that should have remained buried. His true name was struck from record, but whispers say he was once an advisor to the Queen, a man who uncovered a secret lineage, hidden behind velvet curtains and midnight confessions. A child born out of betrayal. This child was neither crowned nor forgotten. It was a sin carefully folded into the silk of royal history. But one man spoke, and silence claimed him in return. Every night, the guards swore they saw him standing in the dark, motionless, eyes on the wall, as though it were whispering his sins back to him. Yet, the man smiled. Silence began to bend. At first it was a hum, then a rhythm, like the heartbeat of the fortress itself. Some said it was the echo of the past, others that it was the prisoner learning to speak without a tongue. On the 437th night, the warden approached the cell. Inside, there was no movement, no breathing, no sound, only carved words. 6 words. The throne is built on bones. By morning, the man was dead. But death did not silence the cage. The guards swore they heard his voice whispering from the walls, the same 6 words, again and again. The silent cage had swallowed his breath, but not his truth. The Duke ordered the cell sealed, the priest blessed it, and the royal family never spoke of the man again. But in the fortress archives, a single sheet of parchment was found centuries later. Unsigned, unsealed, it contained only the same words. Who carved those words? Was it a confession or a warning? History doesn't answer, it listens. Centuries later, when explorers opened the cell again, they found the carvings untouched. The iron had rusted, the walls had cracked, but those 6 words were as sharp as the night they were carved. And so begins the story of the silent cage and the death that spoke volumes. History does not rest in silence. It lurks behind crumbling stones, in the dark veins of forgotten kingdoms. The silent cage was sealed, but its story was far from buried. Because when the truth is walled in, it grows louder in the dark. Decades passed. New rulers wore the crown. New blood claimed the throne. But beneath their feet, the walls still whispered. The fortress guards changed, the banners changed, but the hum remained. They said, on winter nights when the wind clawed the tower walls, the cage would breathe, like a throat remembering a voice it once devoured. A century after the nameless voice died, the fortress had fallen into disuse. No more nobles, no more feasts, only a skeleton of power rotting from the inside. But legends never die so easily. In 1756, a scholar arrived from the capital. His name was Elias von Sterin, a man obsessed with buried truths. He had heard the story of the silent cage whispered like a curse in the streets, and he wanted to see it with his own eyes. Elias believed the nameless prisoner was not just a man, but a witness, a key to a royal crime the world had chosen to forget. He called it the whisper beneath the throne. The locals tried to warn him. They told him the cage was not empty. They told him the last warden lost his mind there. But Elias only smiled. To him, silence was not to be feared. It was to be understood. He entered the fortress alone. No torches, no entourage, just a lantern, a notebook, and a relentless hunger to unearth the past. What waited for him inside was not history. It was something alive. Step by step, he descended the spiral staircase. Each step echoed like a drum in a crypt, and then the echo stopped. Below him, the air itself felt heavier. He reached the sealed iron door, thick with rust, frozen in time, and beneath the layers of decay, those 6 words, still visible, still sharp. Elias whispered them aloud for the first time in 100 years. The throne is built on bones. The moment his voice hit the stone, the air changed. The silence was no longer empty. It was listening. He broke the seal. The door moaned open like a wound tearing itself apart. And the cold that spilled out wasn't just air. It was memory. Inside, the cage was untouched. The carvings glowed faintly beneath centuries of grime. No bones, no chains, only the shape of a man left behind in the silence. Elias knelt. His fingers traced the carvings, the same grooves the prisoner's hands had once made, and in that moment, he heard it too. A whisper. Low, unclear, ancient. He thought it was the wind, but the wind does not speak in human breath. It came again. From the wall, from within the wall, 6 words, spoken in a voice that was not his. The same cursed phrase, over and over. Elias staggered back. His lantern shook in his hand, but fear did not stop him. He believed this was proof, a secret the royals had tried to drown. He spent the next 3 nights inside the fortress, sleeping near the door of the silent cage. Every night, the whisper grew louder, more distinct, more human. On the 3rd night, Elias opened his journal. His hand was trembling. He wrote down every syllable he could catch, but the whispers were no longer only repeating the phrase. They were telling him something more. He heard of a child, a bloodline, a stolen crown, a betrayal wrapped in silk and smiles, and the nameless man who tried to tell the world. Elias realized something horrifying. The silent cage had never been empty. It was a mouth, a grave, a witness that refused to stay buried. On the 4th night, he decided to go deeper. He touched the wall where the whisper was clearest and felt warmth, as if someone's breath was on the other side. He whispered back, "Who are you?" The answer came like a blade dragged through water. "The one they buried alive." Elias dropped his lantern. The flame went out. Darkness took everything, but the voice remained. Close, too close. They found him at dawn, lying unconscious near the cell door. The carvings had changed. A new line appeared beneath the 6 words. The heir was never theirs. Elias awoke days later in a village infirmary. His hair had gone white overnight. His hands trembled. He refused to return to the fortress. But he kept the journal, every page filled with whispers.